Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, Classic / Non-Classes. This is episode number 2201, Doubleshot number 2095. I have pretty much two Marvel Epic Collections here. First up is New Mutants. New Mutants Epic Collection Volume 5, Sudden Death. This book only collects issues 55 through 70. And also third annual. You're thinking, really? That's it? That's like roughly 16 issues in an annual. Which, yeah. Now, this is of course the start of Louise Simonson. I've already discussed the rest of her already. Thanks to the couple reviews there for volumes 6 and 7. So this is the last one discussed. This fact, yes, 8 did some issues written by her. But those part of it across the I've already discussed. Mostly put in these issues. Well, first we have, by the way, the annual that comes with that comes up between issues 66 and 67. We have mostly the first issue focus on Cannonball, the whole issue. We're going to a party. And that of course leads into powers. That kind of leads into something a little bit later. And of course they fight Empath of the Helion. Well, they think of the Helion. And this one with Massachusetts Academy here. It's progressing slowly here, but we're really just starting the run. And then 57 we're introduced to a new character who does play a minor role in the Fallen Mutant stuff. Yep. He's introduced and of course says he's mutant. Of course he's not exactly classified, but so he's allowed to stay, no problem. Thank you guys want me here despite the fact that he clearly could be a mutant. So they do test it out. Yeah, then eventually he's allowed to stay after this unconvincing. Then they go off to an island. Yep. Now 59 and 61 are part of the Fallen Mutants crossover. Sadly, during the course of this 3-part story, Doug Ramsey dies, and this kind of takes place concurrently with the events of both stories. In the case of, they kind of witness the events on TV related to stuff in Dallas, which of course, right afterwards, Ileana does go out to Forge, right after the story wraps up. And they also witness the stuff that happened in the pages of X Factor, where the X Factor team fought Apocalypse and his Knights of and his Four Horsemen. Yes. Now, I have pointed out, though, that of the 3 stories, I think the X Factor one is the best one because I love that story. This one, I kind of feel as though, is about the same level as the X one. I thought the X one was the weakest of all 3 parts. Yep. Yeah, it's weird, though, they kill off Doug Ramsey here with issue number 6 thanks to the Friends of Humanity crap. Yeah, and here's the weird thing about this. This came out back in, like, 80-something. Let's take a look and see here. It came out in 1987. And here's the thing. Doug Ramsey being dead for a long period of time. He was dead up until like 20... I think it was like 2010. He was brought back in 2009, roughly 22 years after his death. He gets resurrected, and he stays alive. He was thanks to the Magnus, it was able to resurrect him, and he's still alive this very day. And he, of course, is working with Warlock. I'll get to what happens with him in the next comic, in the future comic corner. But yeah, Doug Ramsey is the first person to officially die, and he stayed dead. It's quite surprising that Marvel kept him dead for that long. And after, of course, they basically mourn over him for the next few issues. Aside from the fact that basically he died, not much is done with the mutants at this point in time. Of course, you also have where More and Empath lead the Helions, which, of course, are recurring foes of the mutants. And then, of course, they spend the remainder of the book going out to space and fighting the Brood. Yep, that's pretty much kind of basically what they do for the rest of this whole entire thing here. Yeah, so, and they're also banned right after the story wraps up. They are basically forbidden. Also, this is the first time that the mutants meet Cameron Hodge. Oh boy, this guy. I'll get to him more when I talk about next when I talk about Future Comic Corner. So yeah, Doug Ramsey, of course, like I mentioned, they mentioned that it's been next for 62-64. It's like mourning over his death while basically wrapping up stuff related to the Helions. And then pretty much for the next 2 issues, they go off to space. In space. Yeah, because the X-Men went to space too, so why not? So 64 that he's a possible resurrection for Doug Ramsey, but it is only here for 1 issue and that's it. It's like basically like Warlock wanted to, but they didn't do it. And in 65, they basically, well, yeah, this is when he comes with the ridiculous what they can't use his powers without his permission. Yes. And this becomes a basically plot thread throughout the remainder of this. Yep. Yeah, then she fights Forge for the next 2 issues. Okay! Yep, and they fight Forge. And then the annual where they take on the High Evolutionary, which that was an interesting idea. Which they basically a little patient. Allow him to freaking finish talking about this stuff here, so. Yeah, of course, you can spend the rest of the time just breaking on their own. Of course, there's one named Godsmear, who's basically kind of a character for the next 2 issues, and that's it for this book. This is still pretty good, but in the case of my final thoughts on this run for Mutants, because I've already discussed her next volume, and I've already discussed St. Jenna, which is probably what her exit was from the book. Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting run for what it is, and of course, also the run to be officially wrapped up with Dave in the season doing the writing duties for issues 98 to 100. So it's Future Comic Corner. I'm gonna have to stop here because dinner is ready. Okay, fine, whatever. When I get back, I'll do the next thing I'll discuss, which will be Avengers and then Dr. Stone. Okay, next video. Bye.